is we'll be joining our zip to a corset dress. So this is the zip I'll be using. It's called SBS. The name of the zip is called SBS. If you look at this place here, it's written SBS here. So this is how it looks in the front. This is how the front looks, and then this is how the back looks. So the first thing you're going to do is, now I've joined my corset to my skirt, and then the edge of the skirt is turned. I turned it with lining. So now I'm going to put it together like so, and then take my waist measurement on the waist. So the waist measurement I'm working with is 28. So 28 divided by 2, that's 14. So on the waist, since the exact waist measurement is 28, divided by 2, sorry, is 14. So I'm not taking my exact 14 because it's a corset. By the time you lace it, it's going to make the waist smaller. So you can remove 2 inches or 1.5 from whatever you have. Like since I have 28 now as the waist measurement, and then divide by 2 is 14, I can remove 1.5 from 14. 1.5 from 14, that will be 12.5. So on the waist here, you can mark 12.5 or 13. It still depends on how tight you want your corset to be, right? Remember I said the reason for removing this 1.5 or 2, it's because by the time you lace it, it's going to make the waist smaller. So you can as well leave it, you can as well not remove it, you can as well just mark your 14 here. So but the problem is when you use that exact 14 here, when the person wears it, the person that wants to wear it, when the person wears the dress, there's going to be excess in this place. So that means after wearing it and lacing it, you're still going to have to do adjustment in this place. It's compulsory. The adjustment always comes up if you don't minus it. So you can either minus while you're sewing it, or just leave it till the person wears it and then you do the adjustment. So here I'll mark my 13 or 12.5. And then I'll move it to the hip. So the hip measurement I'm working with is 41. 41 divided by 4, that's 10 1/4. So now I'm going to place my tape from my waist to the hip. So the waist to hip measurement I'm working with is 8. So on that 8, I'm going to take the hip measurement divided by 4, which is 10 1/4. 10 1/4. So now I'm going to connect what I have here to what I have here. So if it's a beaded lace, you're going to have to cut off some beads that are on the way so you'll be able to sew easily. So I connected this to this. Now you see that from this connection now, I don't have a straight line. The line is not straight. So it's coming like this, and then it's looking a little bit curved because I took more here and then less here. So after that, I'm going to mark. So now we're going to shape in the underbutt. So to shape in the underbutt, I'm going to mark from the waist. I'm going to measure 14 inches. 14 inches. And then whatever I have here, I have 1 inch here. Here, I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. So I'm not taking so much here for the shaping. I'm not taking so much here at the underbutt for the shaping because I already shaped my skirt in when I was sewing it. So I'll mark my 1.5. So if there are beads there, just cut it out of the way. So now we'll connect this to this point here. So if you look at this now, you see that the shape I'm having is curved. It's looking like a C. So from here now, I'm going to sew straight to where I want my slit to start from. So now let's sew. So I'm going to open my zip up and then place it here like so. Place it here on the line I marked and then sew it down. There are bits on the way of the zip. Just carefully use a scissors that have a pointy tip to cut it off. You don't want to break with hammer, because when you break the beads with hammer, most times it tears the lace. So you just carefully use your scissors to cut those beads out of the way. So now I've sewed the first side. So the next thing I'll do now is close the zip, and then turn my dress like this. And then bring the other part of the zip to the other side. So you can as well measure the way you measured here. You can as well do your measurement here, or as you're sewing it, just as you bring it together like this, just use your eye to gauge the amount of fabric you have here and then sew it here. So to be on the safe side, let's measure again on the other side. So remember, on the waist, on the other side here, I have 1.5 inch that I removed. So I'll mark the 1.5 inch on this side too, 1.5. Then from that 1.5, I measured 8. That's the waist to hip measurement, 8. So on that point that I have 8, I came in by 1, and then I measured 14, which is the waist to the underbust of the person, the measurement you're working with. So you can, it's not compulsory that you must use 14. So you take this measurement on your customer's body, just put the tape on the waist at the back and then to under the butts. So this is 14. So on that 14, I came into by 1.5 inch. So now connect this together. Now, but before you start sewing, put this edge here on the edge here and pin it down. Pin the beginning down. You can as well just pin the zip down all through. So when it gets to the edge, I'll open the zip up a little bit and then continue sewing. So we've attached our zip. So the main advantage of sewing it this way is it's very easy to make adjustments, right? So in case your customer comes and wear it and then she says, oh, she wants the hip to be tighter, or she wants the waist to be tighter, so you can as easily just lose the zip, move it, and make your adjustments easily without too much stress. So now we're going to measure the slits. So before you measure that, put the skirts together like this and then make sure the length is equal. And then the slits, the measurement I'll be using for the slit is 20 inches. Depends on how tall, or how much you use for the slits, depends on how tall your customer is or how long the person wants her slits to be. Some people want their slits really long, others want it not very long. So I'm using 20 inches for my slits. So I've marked my 20 inches. So I'm going to pin that down. Just pin it down where the 20 inches stops. I'm going to change my zipper foot because this is the side I'm sewing on now. This is where I want to sew on now. So I need to use the other side of my zipper foot. So this is a zipper foot. You see that this one has, you see that this one is, this is, let me take it further so you can see. So you see how it looks. You see that this one have hole here and this one has hole here. So if you're sewing on this side, you use this. If you're sewing on this side, you use this. So if you're buying a zipper foot, it comes in 2 pairs like this. So it's really very easy to sew your zip when you are using a zipper foot. So you're going to make sure the beginning here, where you start sewing from here, you're going to make sure you lock the stitch, because you don't want your customer to sit down and then the where you started sewing your zip there will rip open. So after that, I'm just going to continue sewing till where my slit starts from. So now, after sewing to where you want your slit to start from, now I've sewed to the point here. So the next thing you will do now is take your dress to your ironing table with your steam iron. You're going to put hemming gum here. You first need to iron this place open. Just ironing is very, very important in fashion designing. You need to iron every seam open. Iron this seam open, then after that put your hemming gum here and then just fold it like this, and then use your hemming gum to hold it down to the edge. Then you do the same thing for the other side. So that's all. And then this is what you have. This is how the front is going to look. So this is how the zip is going to look from this side. And then this place here is where you hold it down with your hemming gum. So by the time you hold it down with your hemming gum, you have something like this. This is how it's going to look. Very neat and well finished.